Hello Internet, I am the Hero of Julios once again with another Digimon card pack opening video. This time we finally have a new booster pack to open. New Awakenings to be exact. This has Imperial Dramon, Fighter Mode, and Gammamon on the cover, which is really cool. I like the art. I went to a pre-release event and we got some promo cards from it. I once again actually managed to win. Every time I win I get a little more stressed out because, I've actually managed to get the prize card in every pre-release I've been in. So yeah, you can imagine it's a little nerve-wracking. But without further ado, let's take a zoom in and take a look. The promo card that you got for just participating is this Gammamon. During your turn, if you have a red tamer in play, this Digimon can also attack your opponent's unsuspended Digimon. It's a very powerful card because, I mean, he's got 4,000 DP, which is stronger than most rookie-level Digimon, so Gammamon wins in a 1-to-1 fight as long as there's a red tamer around. So that's kind of nice. And then the promo card for winning the tournament is this BT5 Agumon. This came out in Battle for Omni, BT5. On play, we reveal the 3 cards from the top of our deck. We add a Digimon with Greymon in its name, and one other card with Omnimon in its name to our hand. We place the remaining cards at the bottom of our deck. So he's a great searcher. Definitely going to come in handy because this booster pack has Black War Greymon in it. On that note, I'm hoping that our alt art, if we get one, is Black War Greymon. We're obviously hoping for either of the secret rares, but the alt arts, I would really like the Gammamon or the Black War Greymon because they're both very cool and in Gammamon's case very cute. We also got, when buying a box, we got a bonus pre-release pack. The one I got for participating in the tournament, that's going to go in my Schrodinger collection, but let us see what pre-release cards we get. The pre-release cards we get, ooh, we got a Black Gatomon. That's really cool. It has Rush. It's a 5 cost to play with Rush, which is really nice. It's got Retaliation as an inherited. And because it's yellow, this now puts Retaliation in your yellow decks. So keep that in mind if your opponent pulls this little bad boy out. Our other one is a pre-release Bancho Mamemon. That's really cool. So Bancho Mamemon is an 11 cost to play. When Digivolving, we can reveal the top 3 cards of our deck. For each of our opponent's Digimon, we can play one Digimon card with Mamemon in its name with a memory cost of 10 or less from among them, the revealed cards, without paying their memory cost. Then we trash the remaining cards. While we have another Digimon with Mamemon in its name, this Digimon gets security attack +1. So the ideal scenario is to have your opponent have at least 3 cards on the board, and then you Digivolve into Bancho Mamemon, and hopefully you did something to stack your deck, because that's actually something that Mamemons are capable of. We're going to see that with Catch Mamemon in this booster pack. But Bancho Mamemon lets us basically flood the board with ultimate level Digimon. So that's going to be something to keep your opponents on their toes. So without further ado, let's start cracking this little boy open. Oh, I would love some. Oh, did you mean all the sushi?
You can just take it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sushi break. Okay, now we will open. And our box toppers are the Aereo Veedramon Zero and Ulforce Veedramon Zeros, which were the pre-release cards for Next Adventure. So I actually already have a full play set of these. It's something to get used to when I open up some more boxes. But when Digivolving, trash the top 3 cards of our deck. Then, if we have a Tamer in play, this Digimon gets 3,000 DP for the turn. When attacking as an inherited effect, we can place 3 non-Digi-Egg cards from our trash at the bottom of our deck in any order to have this Digimon get 2,000 more DP. I'm just going to open this up real quick, get my hands on that Ulforce Veedramon. When Digivolving, we can place 3 non-Digi-Egg cards from our trash to the bottom of our deck in any order to unsuspend this Digimon and one of our tamers. When a card is returned from our trash to our deck, gain a memory. So his When Digivolving effect lets us save an extra memory by gaining it back from putting the cards in our deck. Then the Aerial Vidramon 0 lets us continue that effect, gaining a memory every time he attacks. Our other box topper is TK Takeishi. That's cool. This is the uncommon tamer from this pack. At the start of our turn, if we have 2 memory or less, set your memory to 3, so he's a standard memory tamer. During our opponent's turn, when our opponent attacks one of our blue Digimon, we can suspend this tamer to draw a card. It's an interesting effect, if nothing else. But that's our box topper, so that's pretty cool. As always, my first box opening is me actually analyzing and talking about the cards that I'm getting, while the other box opening video that I will do a week after is just going to be opening the cards and enjoying them. So if you are just here for shiny cardboard, then there's going to be a bit of talking involved, letting you know. Next week I will just be opening packs and looking at them. So without further ado, let us open our very first pack of New Awakening on the channel. And our first is an option card. 9 cost, black option card, Senbon Dokkan. We reveal the top 3 cards of our deck, and we can play any number of cards with Mamemon in their names, whose play cost add up to 15 or less among them without paying their memory cost. Delete one of our opponent's Digimon with a memory cost of 6 or less for each Digimon played with this effect. So it's a give and take. It's a good board wiper combined with a summoning mechanic. Mamemon's going to be interesting as a deck. I'm hoping in future booster packs we get more Mamemons to really like customize and make unique combinations, but for now it's pretty cool. This one, I don't know how I feel about the art. So this is Betsumon. 6 to play, 3 to Digivolve. When Digivolving, we can trash a card in our hand to treat this Digimon as also having the colors of the trashed card for the turn. Then, if this Digimon has 2 or more colors, draw 2. So, it's a really good effect, actually. When Digivolving, draw 2, in addition to the one we draw for Digivolving. Plus, Betsumon can be put in any dual-colored deck if the dual-colored deck has yellow, because Betsumon can turn into whatever your other color is. So, draw 3. It's kind of weird that the Digimon is literally just a dude in cosplay. He can actually, in the lore, he can turn into multiple Digimon, which is why it's really cool that you trash a card to basically put on a disguise. But other than that, I love the cards in this game that actually depict Digimon playing the card game. You can see Betsumon's strategy seems to just be having a ton of yellow cards on the board. But, ooh! Our next card is Hookmon. His when attacking is an inherited effect. When attacking, trash the bottom Digivolution card of one of your opponent's Digimon. What's more interesting about him is he is a dual-colored card. He is a blue and black card. So for organizational purposes, the color on the left is the main color associated with the card. So if you're trying to organize by color, that's how the official card game does it. Other than that, though, I just love the idea of Hookmon. There's also Captain Hookmon, there's Petermon, there's Tinkermon, so you could have your own fairy tale themed deck. There's really not much else to say. It's just a cool card. Oh, hey, to go with Gammamon. So this is Betel Gammamon. 5 to play, 2 to Digivolve. When Digivolving, Blitz. This is a champion level Digimon with Blitz. So this is definitely for a very fast-paced, high-octane red deck. Next here we got Keemon. Not much to say. It has 9,000 power, which is very strong for an ultimate level Digimon. But it is also yellow and purple, so it can fit in either color deck. Next we got Frozomon. Its inherited effect is when a Digivolution card of an opponent's Digimon is trashed, return one of your opponent's level 3 Digimon to its owner's hand. So, just a good bouncer. Other than that, he is a pretty standard blocker. However, during your turn, while your opponent has a Digimon with a Digivolution card in play, this Digimon can't attack. So keep in mind, he is definitely more of a defensive card than an offensive one. Going back to talking about Mamemons, this is Thundermon. The name of this card / Digimon is also treated as Mamemon. To keep in mind though, the way this card is worded, it doesn't say your turn. This means that this card is treated as a Mamemon no matter where it is. So it is a Mamemon in your breeding area, it is a Mamemon in your deck, it's a Mamemon in your trash bin, it is a Mamemon on the board. So things like Senbon Dokkan that we just pulled do count for Thundermon. So keep that in mind if you're building a Mamemon deck. Ooh, our first purple card is Demi Maramon. During our turn, once per turn, when a card is trashed from your deck, draw one. Pretty standard, pretty good egg. Hey, this is our first armor Digimon. We got Samaramon here. What's really cool about it is a new mechanic. Actually, he's got two new mechanics introduced in this booster pack. So the first one we got here is Digivolve 2 from Armadillomon. So under normal circumstances, Samaramon digivolves from 3 from a level 3 Digimon. However, he can digivolve for 2 off of an Armadillomon. Now, this can be off any Armadillomon, whether it's yellow, whether it's blue. If they come out with a green Armadillomon someday, he can still digivolve off of it. This is really nice because this special Digivolution also works in the breeding area. It's not like a warp Digivolution or anything like that. This is a special type of Digivolution that does work in your raising area. The other ability that Samaramon brings to the table is Armor Purge. So when this Digimon would be deleted, you may trash the top card of this Digimon to prevent that deletion. Which means if Samaramon got deleted by something like even Gaia Force, Armadillomon would still be on the board. Now, if this happened after the Digimon attacked, Armadillomon would be suspended. But this does leave you open to re-digivolve Armadillomon into something else. Finally, when digivolving, trash the bottom Digivolution card of one of your opponent's Digimon. Then, if your opponent's Digimon one of your opponent's Digimon with no Digivolution sources gets minus 3000 DP for the turn. So trashing Digivolution cards, lowering DP, this is a very blue-yellow card. Now this card was a pain in my butt during the pre-release tournament because I didn't pull one, but everybody else did. This is Crimson Blaze. It's a 6-cost option card, but it reduces the memory cost of this card in your hand by 1 for each Digimon your opponent has in play. So if your opponent has 6 Digimon, this card is free. Its main effect, though, is delete all of your opponent's Digimon with 6000 DP or less. Your opponent can't play Digimon by effects until the end of your next turn. What this means is using any effect will prevent you if that effect says, play a card. Even if it's a purple card that, like Night Raid that lets you play a Digimon from your trash, can't do that. If it's Jesmon, play a Sistermon from your hand, can't do that. I believe it even works on the Paildramon that's going to be coming out in the new booster pack, the Imperial Dramon Dragon mode, that lets you play Digimon from underneath him. That would not work because you cannot play Digimon using an effect. So this is going to be a really great showstopper for red decks. I know I'm putting it in mine. And finally, for our rares, we got Halsamon, who, just like Samaramon, can digivolve for 2 specifically from Hawkmons. He can digivolve for 3 off of any blue level 3, though. He has Armor Purge, and when attacking, we delete one of our opponent's level 3 Digimon, which is a really good, very common red effect. Our other rare, is Metal Greymon. I'm looking forward to building a deck around you guys. Alright, so when digivolving, we did digivolve one of our opponent's Digimon. Then, we delete one of our opponent's Digimon with 3000 DP or less. So Metal Greymon here combines the powers of black and red decks. Then, his inherited effect, During our turn, while this Digimon has Dragonkin or Machine in its traits, it can also attack your opponent's unsuspended Digimon. Now, obviously, this Metal Greymon is meant to go great with cards like War Greymon and Black War Greymon, but a couple boosters ago in EX1, we got this awesome Machine Dramon card. Metal Greymon is a cyborg, which means he works with Machine Dramon. Keep that in mind if you're building a Machine Dramon deck. And there we have it. That was our first booster pack, and wildly enough, we got no green cards whatsoever. That's crazy. But, hey, you know, I'm sure we'll get a green card in our next pack. Green got a couple nice things. Mostly looking forward to this one card, Kogamon. Kogamon is a purple and green, but has retaliation, something green has never had before. So, our next pack contains a Frozomon, Soulmon, whose inherited is once per turn. When a card is trashed from our deck, we gain a memory. Ooh, Hisya Ryuumon. There we go, Hisya Ryuumon. This is a mouthful of a card. When one of our effects places a Digivolution card under this Digimon, we may Digivolve this Digimon into a Digimon card in our hand with X antibody in its traits by paying its Digivolution cost. When this Digimon would Digivolve using this effect, we reduce the Digivolution cost by 1. So, I believe this card got errated. No, I'm thinking of another one, maybe. If it does, I'll leave a description down which card got errated to keep an eye out for when you're opening your own packs. But his other effect is, during our opponent's turn, while this Digimon has X antibody in its traits, it gains Reboot. We got another Ikakiman. Hey, we got Master Tyrannomon here. This guy helped me a lot during the pre-release event. He let me destroy an opponent in 2 turns flat, just by himself. But anyways, he is a red and green Digimon. During all turns, all of our Digimon with Tyrannomon in their name gain security attack +1. That includes Master Tyrannomon himself, because he is a Tyrannomon. So I guess technically he innately has security attack +1. His inherited effect also gives security attack +1, which is nice. He can Digivolve off of both red and green Digimon, and is a red-green Digimon himself, meaning that green Digimon can Digivolve off him. Hey, our first officially green, not just a dual-color green. We got little Ikakiman. He's a 2-cost to play, 0 to Digivolve, 3000 power, just a vanilla rookie-level Digimon. But what's really cool about this guy is he's actually a Digimon that was created in a contest during the 6th season of Digimon to have your artwork become a real Digimon. So that's pretty cool. We got Psychemon here. Psychemon, during all turns, players can't reduce play cost. So a great example would be Beelstarmon, who lowers how much she costs based on your 7-cost option cards and other 3 Musketeers. Psychemon puts a stop to that instantly. Don't put it in your 3 Musketeer deck, though, because it happens to both players. Oh, hey, I was just talking about Kogamon. He is a purple and green Digimon, but he has retaliation as an inherited effect. So, if you're running a green deck and you're worried about your cards getting trampled over, put him in, and suddenly your little plant Digimon are poisonous. Next we got Namakemon. Namakemon's effect is we can suspend this Digimon to reveal the top 3 cards of our deck. We add a green Digimon card among them to our hand, placing the remaining cards at the bottom of our deck in any order. It's a good effect, very simple. There's a lot of Pulsemon evolutions because he's got a lot of branching paths. This is one of them. All the ones in this pack seem to revolve around the idea of suspending your Digimon to grow stronger. We got Freemon, one of our eggs from this booster. While we have 3 or more security cards, this Digimon gets 1,000 more DP. Nice. And for our rares, we got Davis and Ken. Start of our main phase, if we have a blue Digimon in play, gain a memory. If we have a green Digimon in play, gain a memory. During our turn, when one of our Digimon digivolves into a Digimon with 2 or more colors, we can suspend this tamer to unsuspend that Digimon. So what's nice about this is it's the start of your main phase that gives you this memory. So if you had a blue-green Digimon in your raising area and you slid it up there, your breeding phase happens before your main phase starts, which means you could manipulate your own memory by choosing whether or not to slide that Digimon into the battle area. Furthermore, this is actually a great card if you have Armor Purge, a Digimon with Armor Purge, because you could take your Halsamon, like the one we just pulled, swing it into your opponent's security. Halsamon gets deleted. Then you can Digivolve your Hawkmon into another Halsamon, suspend these guys, and now you can attack again. Oh, speaking of, we got Laedramon as our other rare. He Digivolves for 2 off of any Vmon, and he has Armor Purge. When Digivolving, suspend one of our opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon. This is an interesting one because in the English dub of the anime, he's called Laedramon. So having this letter L here kind of throws me off a little bit, but I'm getting used to it. Okay, I don't normally do this, but I have a theory and I want to test it. So the 2 packs that I'm going to pull next are actually from the bottom of the box, because I have a theory that the bottom of the box doesn't give great cards. Like if they're the last 2 packs in the box and the store owner has done nothing to manipulate it, these are going to have just regular rares. I'm hoping that my theory is wrong, but I figured I would test this live on camera to see if I am correct. So here goes our first bottom of the box. We got Mist Memory Boost. Its main effect is we trash the top 2 cards of our deck and draw 1. Then it has a delay effect that gives us 2 memory. Pretty standard for memory boost cards, but I do like that they're expanding to more than just searching options when it comes to these memory boosts. I kind of wish the delays would do more than just memory. The delay effect could have like search the top few cards of your deck or something. I think Japan's new starter decks have that kind of thing happening, so it's nice to know that I'm not the first to think of this idea. But our next card is Ankiloman. When you would play this card from your hand, if you have a blue Digimon in play, reduce the play cost of this card by 1. So he's kind of a 3 cost to play for a champion. That's really nice. But he also Digivolves off yellow and blue, so clearly he was designed for a blue-based deck. As when attacking Inherited, if we have a blue Digimon in play, one of your opponent's Digimon loses 3000 DP for the turn. So, pretty standard for a yellow, but great to combine with a blue deck. Next up, we got Jin Ryuumon. During our opponent's turn, if this Digimon has X antibody in its traits, it gains blocker. So again, X antibody powers up just like the one before it. So if you have both of them, both him and his evolution under your X antibody, they have blocker and reboot. Very strong combination. Oh boy, this is the card for your armor Digimon deck. While you have a Digimon with armor form in its traits in play, you may use this card without meeting its color requirements. So even if you're running a deck of nothing but Laedramon here, because he is an armor Digimon, you can play this card, Fire Rocket. One of your Digimon with 2 or more colors gets security attack plus 1. At a cost of 1 to do that, it is amazing. But what makes it even more amazing is its security effect. Delete one of your opponent's Digimon with blocker. This is a red card if I have ever seen one. Extra security, heavy damage for very low cost, and a security effect that deletes something practical. This is the best red option in this booster pack. And that's saying something considering the other big one that costs 6. Our other card in this booster pack is Pulsemon. During all turns, this Digimon gets 1000 DP for each of your other suspended Digimon. Like I said, the Pulsemon cards seem to be focusing on suspending your Digimon to grow stronger in this pack. Got another Betsumon, another Soulmon, another Samaramon, Demi Devamon. His on-play effect lets us reveal the top 3 cards of our deck. We add a Tamer card from them to our hand, and trash a purple Digimon from among them. The remaining cards go to the bottom of our deck. Ideal scenario, you get both a Tamer and a Digimon, but it's nice to see that purple can do more than just trashing cards. It can also add to hand and place at the bottom of the deck. It's an interesting card, definitely designed to go with the Myotismon family. Next up, we got Cyclonemon, a red-black Digimon here. When attacking, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 2000 or less DP. Again, pretty standard for red, but he's a nice dual color, so that's cool. Oh, here we got Hiro Amanakawa. So Hiro is actually one of the protagonists from the new Digimon season, Ghost Game. I've been watching it with my brother. It has been a lot of fun. I do like how it takes a darker turn for Digimon, really emphasizing on the monster part of Digital Monster. The card itself, though, if we have 2 or more memory, or 2 or less memory, set our memory to 3, so he is a standard memory tamer. During our turn, if we attack with a Digimon that has Gammamon in its name, or is level 5 or higher, we can suspend this Digimon to have one of our Digimon get 2000 DP. Nice. And our other rare is Cody. Cody is at the start of our main phase. If we have a yellow Digimon, we gain a memory. And during our turn, if one of our Digimon with 2 or more colors attacks, we can suspend this tamer to lower our opponent's Digimon's DP by 2000. So, pretty standard for a yellow tamer. Probably would fit well, considering the TK card gives you a memory set to 3. So obviously they're both designed to work together because in the series they're Digimon DNA digivolved together. So hopefully we get a Shakomon. That would be kind of nice. I believe he's a rare in this pack, so it shouldn't be that hard to pull off. Our next card is Angemon. When this Digimon would digivolve, if you have 3 or fewer security, recovery +1. That's really nice. You digivolve on top of him, and you get to recover 1. What's really cool is that he is a yellow and a blue Digimon. So, if you had 2 Angemons, and you DNA digivolve them into something that needs blue or yellow, or something that needs any color, like the Chimeramon in this booster, you would recover 2, actually. Nice. When attacking, if you have 3 or more security cards, return one of your opponent's level 3 Digimon to its owner's hand. Pretty standard blue effect. We got this Lekman, 3 to play, 0 power, 4000 DP, just a vanilla yellow. Ultimate Brachiomon. He is a vanilla dual-colored red and black, but he is also an X antibody. It's not really something you could tell just by looking at him, but it's definitely something to keep in mind if you're building an X antibody deck on a budget. Got another Pulsemon. We got this Candlemon, who digivolves from yellow and purple Digimon. When we play another purple Digimon, gain a memory as an inherited effect. Purple summons from the graveyard, from the trash bin a lot, so this is actually a really good effect to have if you're running a purple-yellow deck. Ooh, next we got this Padamon. He digivolves from both blue and yellow rookie-level Digimon. But what's nice is, at the end of your turn, you can DNA digivolve this Digimon and one of your other Digimon in play into a Digimon in your hand by playing its DNA digivolution cost. So basically this allows you to pass the turn over to your opponent and still be able to DNA digivolve. So like, if we had Angemon digivolved on top of this Padamon, we could play Ankiloman, which would, maybe move the memory gauge over to our opponent, but Padamon would let us DNA digivolve into Shakomon. Got another Soulmon, and we got Cherubimon here. When we would play this card from our hand, we can delete a purple Cherubimon to reduce the cost by 8. His on-play and when digivolving effects, for each tamer we have in play, we can lower our opponent's Digimon's security attacks by 2. 1 Digimon for each tamer, of course. So if you had 3 tamers and your opponent only had 1 Digimon, you could lower their security attack by 6. making them very harmless. What's really nice about this, though, is he's only 3 cost to play if you have a purple Cherubimon. And I believe the last booster pack had a Cherubimon with a deletion effect. So, something to think about for synergy. Got another Kogamon, another Cyclonemon. Ooh, it may not be a super rare, but this is a good rare card to have in this bottom booster. We can choose any number of our opponent's Digimon whose play cost add up to 15 or less, and delete them with the power of Dark Gaia Force. Its security effect lets us delete one opponent's Digimon with a play cost of 15 or less. So, pretty much every Digimon in the game right now. Still, the only thing that kind of puts this card on a down low for me is I wish it was called Terra Destroyer. I mean, I know that was the dubism, but that was such a cool name. I wish it was called Terra Destroyer. Otherwise, though, this is a very strong card. Fortunately, option cards of dual color require both colors to be present in order to use their power. So keep that in mind. And our other rare is Laedramon. So I hate to say that I'm right, but I am right. The booster packs from the bottom of the box were not that good. They were just rares. No super rares at all among them. But that's okay. Maybe the two above them were more powerful. So we'll find out at the end of this video. For now, though, we got Lightning Blade. It's a 1 cost that we can play if we have an armor form Digimon, regardless of the color requirement. A Digimon with 2 or more colors gets 2000 DP and piercing for the turn. Security effect lets us suspend an opponent's Digimon. It's not bad. Another Psychemon. Ooh, Kokuwamon. During all turns, our players can't ignore Digivolution requirements. Now, the special Digivolutions, like Halsamon for Hawkmon and Samaramon for Armadillomon, those don't count. But things like Warp Digivolving, like Keemon into the Infirmon from BT2, those do. You cannot ignore the Digivolution requirements while Kokuwamon is on the board. Ooh, next up, Surf's up. We got Surfmon, a dual-colored blue and black ultimate level Digimon, or mega level Digimon. That's pretty cool. Another Ikakiman, Master Tyrannomon. Armor texture. While we have an armor form Digimon, we can play this without needing its color requirement. We can trash the top card of one of our Digimon with armor form to Digivolve into one of our Digimon in our hand with armor form. In order to we do have to pay its Digivolution cost. But if we do, we unsuspend that Digimon. This allows us to swing really hard with our rookie level Digimon. Like if you throw Flamedramon in and you wanted Flamedramon to get deleted. However, he didn't. So you play armor texture, switch to Laedramon, and just bash a second time into your opponent's security. Its security effect lets us play a level 3 Digimon with free in its traits from our hand or trash without paying its memory cost. Nice. Ooh, I apologize if I pronounce this wrong. Samahi Santi. It is a 1 cost green option. We could suspend one of our opponent's we suspend one of our own Digimon to suspend an opponent's Digimon or Tamer, and our opponent cannot unsuspend the cards suspended by this effect until the end of their next turn. What's interesting about this is it affects Tamers, and you can use it to bog down one of your opponent's Tamers for an entire turn. That's actually a really interesting effect. I'm not exactly sure how it'll affect the meta, but don't sleep on this card. Our next card is Innocence Blizzard. We trash the bottom Digivolution card of all of our opponent's Digimon. Then up to 3 of our opponent's Digimon with no Digivolution cards cannot attack or block until our opponent's next turn. It's just a good card for pausing your opponent if you're running a deck that heavily gets rid of inherited effects. Yukio is our next egg. When an effect places a Digivolution card under this Digimon, it gets 1000 DP until the end of your opponent's next turn. Pretty standard for these X-Antibody cards coming out. Ooh, our next card is a classic, Myotismon. We trash the top 2 cards of our deck, and then we play one Yukio Oikawa from our trash without paying its memory cost. On deletion, if this Digimon has Myotismon in its name, we can play Yukio Oikawa from our hand or trash suspended by without paying its memory cost. Ooh, this combines well with the Mallo Myotismon coming out in this pack. And our last rare is the Digimon Emperor. During all turns, when an opponent's level 5 or lower Digimon is deleted, we can suspend this tamer to draw a card. Then during our opponent's turn, when one of our opponent's level 3 Digimon is moved from their breeding area to their battle area, we gain 2 memory. This is a good card to play down if your opponent has a level 3 Digimon in the raising area, because it forces them to decide whether or not they're going to move him during their breeding phase, or if they're going to Digivolve and wait until next turn. It's a good way to slow your opponent down, because now they have to basically choose how they want to do their breeding phase. Our next booster pack has Armor Texture, Surfmon, Kokuomon, Karatemon, a 6 to play, 2 to Digivolve, 7,000 power, just another vanilla purple. Ankiloman. If we have a yellow Digimon in play, this Digimon only costs 3, costs 1 less. So just like the Ankiloman. When attacking, if we have a yellow Digimon in play, delete one of our opponent's Digimon with 5,000 DP or less. Ankiloman and Gatomon DNA Digivolve together in the second season of Digimon, so it makes sense that Ankiloman bases on yellow Digimon effects. Oh, here, this was Catch Mamemon that I was talking about. So when Digivolving, we can return up to 4 Digimon cards with Mamemon in their names from our hand to our trash, from our hand and or trash, to the top of our deck in any order. Then, if we return 3 or more cards with this effect, we de-Digivolve one of our opponent's Digimon by 1. So you take Catch Mamemon, you Digivolve him. You can de-Digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon if you want, but the more important effect here is that Catch Mamemon put 3 Mamemons on top of your deck, which means Digivolving into Bancho Mamemon automatically guarantees we will get to play 3 Mamemons. Our next card is Spainomon, a 10 to play, 3 to Digivolve, 13,000 power, just a vanilla Mega Level Digimon, but a green-red Mega Level Digimon. A good backup plan if you're running a Christmas Tyrannomon deck. Our next option is Pandemonium Flame. We can delete one of our own Digimon to delete one of our opponent's unsuspended Digimon with a level less than or equal to that deleted Digimon's level. Then what's really cool is its security effect just lets us delete an opponent's unsuspended Digimon. So, that's nice. Ooh. Next up, we got Shuriman. Also Digivolves for 2 off Hawkmon, but 3 off of any regular level 3 green Digimon. He's got Armor Purge, and when Digivolving, one of our opponent's Digimon with Blocker cannot attack or block until the end of our opponent's next turn. So basically, he gets to pause a blocker. Nice. We got a regular version of the TK we got from our box topper. And for our rares, we got Flame Hellscythe. One of our opponent's Digimon loses 6,000 DP for the turn. Then we can play a purple or yellow Digimon with 6,000 or less DP from our trash without paying its memory cost. This works really well with that Gatomon from our pre-release pack because Gatomon has less than 6,000 and has Rush. Ooh, and our first super rare is Shivamon. During our opponent's turn, while all of our Digimon are suspended, our opponent can't use option cards. Then, during our turn, when this Digimon becomes unsuspended during our unsuspend phase, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. That really utilizes the power of being suspended in a way that usually being suspended makes your Digimon vulnerable, but Shivamon turns it into a strength. Imagine if your opponent can't play Crimson Blaze, if they can't play Fire Rocket, if they can't play Gaia Force. I know I'm listing a lot of red cards, but I'm mostly a red player. Imagine if they couldn't play Ultimate Flare. A lot of decks rely on their option cards, and Shivamon puts an immediate stop to that. That's a good first super rare. We got a few more. We got a bunch more. So let's keep the ball rolling. Oh, I like the card art on this one. So this is Disaster Blaster, which I just love the laser eyes coming out. But one of our opponent's Digimon loses 3000 DP, and if we have a Digimon in play with 2 or more colors, or with 2 or more colors in its Digivolution cards, one of our opponent's Digimon loses 6000 DP instead. This card may not delete, major threats, but 6000 DP covers pretty much every level 4 and lower Digimon, with some very rare exceptions. So, it's a good card. I would put it in my yellow deck. Next up, we got Fangmon, a champion level Digimon with Retaliation, pretty standard for purple. We got Gazimon, a 2-cost to play vanilla red Digimon, very nice. Next is Captain Hookman. During all turns, when our opponent plays a level 5 or higher Digimon, we gain a memory and draw 1. I don't know how often our opponent's going to be playing level 5 Digimon straight from the hand, but purple decks tend to do it a lot, so depending on the matchup, this card could be great, or it could be pretty lackluster. Next we got a Lekman, another Padamon, another Ultimate Brachiomon. We got BBmon. While all of our other Digimon are suspended during our opponent's turn, this Digimon gets 1000 more DP. It's a nice little inherited. Works well with the Pulsemon stuff. Now we got Plasma Shot. This yellow card can be played if you have a Digimon with armor form in its traits, so again, like all the other armor cards. One of our opponent's Digimon loses 4000 DP for the turn, then all of our opponent's Digimon lose an additional 1000 DP for each card with armor form in our trash. So the first Digimon loses 4000, but if you had like 6 armor Digimon in your trash, that first Digimon loses 10,000 DP while the rest lose 6. It's still a very powerful card. It's a good board wipe for yellow, so something to consider if you're running an armor deck. Next up we have Skull Knightmon Cavalier Mode. When Digivolving, this Digimon gains Jamming and Blocker until the end of our opponent's next turn. What's nice about him though is he's also treated as Skull Knightmon and Deadly Axemon, which works great with the Skull Knightmon and Deadly Axemon that came along in Next Adventure. So, it's a good card. I think we're going to have to wait a couple boosters before a Skull Knightmon deck becomes a real threat, but for now, I'm going to be putting it in mine. And for our rares, we got Hiro again. Ooh, and Yuji. When one of our Digimon with X antibody in its traits is moved from our breeding area to the battle area, we gain a memory and a draw 1. Also, when one of our black Digimon with X antibody in its traits attacks, we can suspend this tamer to place one card with X antibody in its traits from our hand to under that Digimon as its bottom Digivolution card. This works well with a lot of X antibody stuff. They rely very heavily on placing cards underneath themselves to gain new effects. So, yeah, I could see him in a lot of X antibody decks. For our next booster, we have Top Gun. Delete one of our opponent's Digimon with 4000 DP or less. If we have a Digimon in play with 2 or more colors, or with 2 or more colors in its Digivolution cards, delete an opponent's Digimon with 7000 DP or less instead. 3000 to delete most champion level Digimon along with some ultimates. This is just as good as the laser eye card that I showed you earlier. Got another Pulsemon, Thundermon, Missed Memory Boost, Angemon, and this Dromojimon, who helped me a lot during the pre-release event, I will say. With a 1 cost to Digivolve, that's just great off any champion. But unlike some, he's actually got a decent punch to him. He's got 5000 DP, so pretty good card. Another Keemon, and Hawkmon. His on-play effect lets us look at the top 4 cards of our deck, and we can place a 2-colored red card among them to our hand, placing the remaining at the bottom of our deck. So, again, works great with, Surfmon and Halsamon and Shuriman because they're both red, dual-colored cards. Another Black Gatomon. Another Shuriman, I was just talking about you. And for our rares, we got Climbmon. When Digivolving, if this Digimon is suspended, we return one of our opponent's suspended Digimon with DP less than or equal to this Digimon to its owner's hand. At 8,000 DP, you get the right stuff to power him up a little, he could bounce back a really powerful Digimon just by Digivolving. When this Digimon becomes unsuspended during our unsuspend phase, we suspend one of our opponent's Digimon, which gives us a target to attack during that turn. Pretty nice. Oh, and our second super rare, we got Mallo Myotismon. His on-play effect, if there are 5 or more cards with Myotismon in their names in our trash, we delete one of our opponent's unsuspended Digimon and trash the top card of our opponent's security stack. When Digivolving, we trash the top 5 cards of our deck. Then, if there is a card with Myotismon in its name, in our trash, we gain a memory. So, effectively, he costs 3 to Digivolve, but with the right effects, you can play him from your trash or from your hand and just decimate your opponent. What's cool about it is, I believe all the way back in BT3, so 3rd booster pack in Japan, 2nd booster pack here in America, but there is an Arukenimon and a Mamemon that have been slept on for far too long, and I think with this Mallo Myotismon, it is their time to shine. But for now, Samaramon will be shining in our deck. When Digivolving, we trash the top 2 cards of our deck and return 1 card with Demon Lord in its traits from our trash to our hand. Fun fact, Mallo Myotismon is a Demon Lord. When a card is trashed from our deck, gain a memory. Pretty standard for purple. Got an Lekman. We got this Scorpiomon, 7 to play, 2 to Digivolve, 8,000, just a nice vanilla blue. Another Lightning Blade. Gammamon. Hey, my boy! This is Greymon. If we have a red Digimon in play, this Digimon gains blocker. Black War Greymon is a red-black Digimon, which means even he himself will count for that red, giving him blocker as well. We got Mushroommon, just a vanilla 3 to play, 0 cost to Digivolve, 4,000. It's cute little art though, I like it. I like the Blossomon in the background. We got TK, and we got Marsmon, one of the Olympus 12 here. This Digimon can also attack your opponent's unsuspended Digimon. It's nice when a Digimon can just do that innately. No special cards, no inherited effects needed. He can just do it. He can just punch Digimon that are not even trying to fight. Ugh. I apologize for even attempting to pronounce this, but we can de-digivolve one of our opponent's Digimon. Then we can place an X antibody card at the bottom of one of our black Digimon with X antibody in its traits to delete an opponent's Digimon with a play cost of 4 or less. Nice. Security effect lets us de-digivolve one of our opponent's Digimon and then delete an opponent's Digimon with a play cost of 4 or less. It's nice. Ooh, and for our rares we get this awesome Agumon. He lets us search the top 4 cards of our deck for a Greymon or a Digimon with Dragonkin in its traits, and then place the rest at the bottom of our deck in any order. But he also digivolves from black or red, so he still fits in with the Koromons that came way back when. And our next super rare, so soon after, we got Chimeramon here. So I will openly admit, I thought Chimeramon had a DNA Digivolution effect. He does not. It is specifically when Digivolving. However, Chimeramon is capable of DNA Digivolving and Digivolving from any color. He's got that rainbow symbol like Susanomon had. He also has rainbow symbols down here on his DNA Digivolution requirement. When Digivolving, we can place a level 5 or lower Digimon card from our trash under this Digimon as its bottom Digivolution card. Then, up to 4 of our opponent's Digimon lose 1,000 DP for each of this Digimon's colors until the end of our opponent's next turn. During our turn, this Digimon is treated as having the colors of all of its Digivolution cards. When this Digimon has 4 or more, it gets 4,000 DP. So 12,000 DP if you manage to get 4 different colors underneath Chimeramon. Actually, not even 4, because Chimeramon himself is a white card. So you just need 3 colors under Chimeramon. Not exactly sure how you're going to pull that off, but multicolored decks are definitely going to become a thing in this upcoming booster pack and beyond. And for our next pack, we have another Mist Memory boost. Lightning Blade, Betel Gammamon, Frozomon, Senbon Dokkan, Fire Rocket, Dromojimon, Samaramon, Demi Devamon, Cyclonemon, and for our rares, we get Digimon. So he digivolves for 2 off Armadillomon and has Armor Purge. When attacking, one of our opponent's suspended Digimon loses 3,000 DP for the turn. So, suspended, losing DP, very green and yellow. I really want the alt art for Digimon as well. I just remembered having seen this card. It's kind of cool. I just like the way he's coming out of the stone, but we'll see. Our other rare is Flame Health Scythe again. We're starting to get into that point where I've gone through all the commons and the uncommons, and we're going to start picking up speed here. Picking up speed in our opening packs like Mushroomon, Jin Ryuumon. Oh, Pistamon. Digizorption -2, so he only costs 1 to digivolve if you suspend one of your other Digimon. During all turns, if this Digimon gets 1,000 DP for all of our other suspended Digimon. Another Scorpiomon, Hisaryumon, Skullmaramon, just a 6/2/7. Skullmaramon is a vanilla red. Another Hookmon. Dinohumon is a yellow and red Digimon. When attacking, one of our opponent's Digimon gets -1,000 DP for the turn. Very nice. Digivolves off both yellow and red, so if you're making a red-yellow deck, this is definitely a card to go with. Ooh, we got Rasenmon Fury Mode. It's not every day that the uncommon card has full, just destructive force in its artwork. At the end of its attack, we can digivolve this Digimon into a Rasenmon in our hand, ignoring its Digivolution requirements and without paying its Digivolution cost. Although Kokuomon would stop that. At the end of our turn, we trash the top card of our security stack. So, you definitely want to digivolve into him, attack, and change him into something else fast. Otherwise, you're going to start losing your own security stack. His inherited effect is designed for Rasenmon, though. When this card is trashed as a Digivolution card by Rasenmon's effect, unsuspend one of our Digimon, and it gets a 3,000 DP boost for its turn. So, end of attack, digivolve into Rasenmon, use Digiburst to get rid of Fury Mode, gain 3,000 attack, unsuspend, and attack again. Watch out. Aw, we got Greymon. If this Digimon has 6,000 or more DP, draw a card. As cute as Greymon is, my beef with the latest installment of Digimon, the 3 main Digimon, their in-training level Digimon are just their head. And then even the baby is just a smaller version of the head. I don't know. Maybe I'm spoiled. Maybe I'm just complaining, but like, Sunomon and Gabumon, that makes sense. Koromon and Agumon, that doesn't make sense. I feel like Digimon, what sets them apart from Pokemon is how much they don't look like their evolutions. But at the same time, I don't know, maybe I'm just complaining. Ooh, and for our rares, we got Azalongmon. We can trash the top card of our security stack to gain 2 memory when attacking. And once per turn, during our turn, when one of our other Digimon digivolves, we can unsuspend it. That's nice. It's a good effect. And our other rare is Bancho Mamemon, which we got the pre-release version of. Our next pack contains Skullmaramon, Spinomon, Betsumon, Padamon, Soulmon, Ryuman, Disaster Blaster, Dino Humon, Freemon, Rasenmon Fury Mode. Oh, and for our rares, we got Shikaomon. He can DNA Digivolve off a yellow and a blue Digimon. When Digivolving, if we have 5 or fewer security, we recover 1. Then if we DNA Digivolved, we return one of our opponent's Digimon whose level is less than or equal to the number of cards in our security stack to its owner's hand. That's pretty crazy, because if you boost your security up to 6, you can get rid of a Mega level Digimon with this guy. Very nice. Heck, if for some reason you already have 6 security, even if you don't get the recovery, this is still a great effect. And our other rare is Yukio Oikawa. During all turns, when one of our Digimon with Myotismon in its name is deleted, we can suspend this tamer to gain a memory. If this tamer is suspended at the end of our opponent's turn, we can delete him to play Mallo Myotismon from our trash without paying its memory cost. You already saw when I pulled the super rare Mallo Myotismon just how strong that can be. Combine that with Arukenimon and Mamemon, you will never have to pay that memory cost. It has the potential of being a very strong deck. Our next booster pack has Ankiloman, Soulmon, Ikakiman, Exermon. When Digivolving, we suspend one of our Digimon to suspend one of our opponent's Digimon. Nice. During all turns, if this Digimon gets 1000 DP for each of our other suspended Digimon. So, are you picking up the pattern? Are you picking up the pattern of Pulsemon here? We got Greymon, Top Gun, Betsumon, Crimson Blaze. Oh, Kami-Kamiya. Start of our turn, if we have 3 or memory or less, set our memory to 3, so another memory tamer. When a card is added to our security stack, we can suspend this tamer to gain a memory. Yellow's pretty good at recovering, so now you get recovery and a memory boost. We got I tried pronouncing this earlier. We got this card. And for our rares, we get Yoli. At the start of our main phase, if we have a red Digimon, we gain a memory. And when one of our Digimon with 2 or more colors attack, we can suspend this tamer to delete one of our opponent's Digimon with 3000 DP or less. So, because of the nature of the dual colors with the yellow and the red and all that, you don't have to lower the opponent's DP all the way down to 0. You can just get it down to 3 and have Yoli handle the rest. Oh, and our others is a super rare. We got the Laedramon Fighter Mode. When Digivolving, we can Digivolve this guy for 2 if we're Digivolving from a Digimon whose name contains Dragon Mode. The way it's worded is kind of weird, but basically it just means all of the Laedramon Dragon Modes out there, he can Digivolve for 2 off of them, because in the actual series, it's a transformation. It's just a swap between modes. So it should cost less than the amount of energy it would take to normally Digivolve, which is 5 off of a blue or a green Digimon. When Digivolving, we return one of our opponent's Digimon with 10,000 or less DP to its owner's hand. And when attacking, if a blue card is in his Digivolution cards, we unsuspend one of our Digimon. If a green card is in its Digivolution sources, we suspend one of our opponent's Digimon. If you have both, you could basically swing with Fighter Mode, and then you would unsuspend him, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, and then Fighter Mode could either go for security again, or he could attack that now suspended Digimon. Very versatile, very good. I mean, blue and green going together for Laedramon has been around since, I think the 3rd booster pack, so I'm not really shocked at the abilities it has. But it's still a great card, and I'm glad I have one. Plus, he's the one that's on the box. Our next pack has Ankiloman, Karatemon, Senbon Dokkan, Ultimate Brachiomon, Fangmon, Hookmon, Gazimon, Namakemon, Hyarimon, While our opponent has no Digimon with Digivolution cards, this Digimon gains 1000 DP. It doesn't sound that great at first until you realize it's an all turns effect. Most in training level Digimon only give effects during your turn specifically or your opponent's turn. So having a caveat like this on such a low level Digimon makes a lot of sense. Oh, next we got Armadillomon. He works just like the Hawkmon, except we reveal the top 4 cards of our deck and we add a 2-colored yellow Digimon from them to our hand. If you put Hawkmon and Armadillomon in a deck together, using Armadillomon as a yellow Digimon rather than the blue that he combines with, it still works. So something to consider if you're looking for something to search for your dual colors. We got another Yoli for our rare, and Ryuman. His on-play effect lets us look for Yuji and an X-Antibody Digimon from the top 3 cards of our deck, putting the rest at the bottom. During all turns as his inherited, while this Digimon has X-Antibody, it gains Decoy Black. So if you're trying to protect something else, you Digivolve it on top of Ryuman, and then you can use it to be the decoy. Stop, some major deleting effect from getting rid of it. Next up, we got Jin Ryuumon. Hey, Snow Agumon! On play, we trash the top Digivolution card of one of our opponent's Digimon. More importantly, though, this Agumon now means that Agumon exists in every color in the game. And to me, that is the most powerful effect of all. I can now run a Rainbow Agumon deck. Next up, we got Candlemon, Pistomon, Frozomon, Catch Mamemon, Fire Rocket, and Terriermon, who lets us reveal the top 5 cards of our deck. We could take a Gargomon or a Rapidmon from among them and add them to our hand, putting the rest at the bottom of our deck. It's a good little searcher Digimon. We got Black Gatomon, a hard to pronounce card. And for our rares, we get Climbmon and Gigadeath. It is a 9-cost blue and yellow option, but it lets us suspend one of our opponent's Digimon, then place up to 10 of our opponent's suspended Digimon at the bottom of their owner's deck in any order. I will say, this card just completely destroys the entirety of Shivamon's strategy, but in any other scenario, it's probably only going to get rid of 1 or 2 of your opponent's Digimon, usually because their weaker Digimon aren't going to be suspended. It's still a great card, though. I mean, 9 costs to get rid of 1, maybe 2 to 3 Digimon. I think I would put at least 1 copy in an Imperial Dramon deck if I was running him. Okay. Our next pack contains Ankiloman, Captain Hookmon, Exermon, Surfmon, Kokuamon, Psychemon, Master Tyrannomon, Innocence Blizzard, Demi Maramon, Hawkmon, and for our rares, another Gigadeath. Ho! And we got Ryuman. I don't think this is his alt art. So, when Digivolving, we may place 1 card with X antibody in its traits from our hand under this Digimon as its bottom Digivolution card to delete one of our opponent's Digimon with a play cost of 7 or less. Now, its once per turn ability, when one of our effects places a Digivolution card under this Digimon gets 2000 DP and cannot be deleted by opponent's effects until the end of your opponent's next turn. Okay, now I'm remembering. This is the one that got errated. So it's not under this Digimon. It's under any of your Digimon. It was just a mistranslation in this card, but I love getting cards that are mistranslated because someday they're going to re-release this card with the right text, but I have the original mess up, and that's pretty cool. Its inherited effect, once per turn, if this Digimon has Alphamon in its name at the end of the attack, unsuspended. Woo. That's a pretty scary effect. So yeah, the important thing to keep in mind is that Ryuman and Dorumon, who eventually digivolve into Oryumon and Alphamon, they work super well together. In this pack, we got Angemon, Skull Satamon, Pulsemon, Candlemon, Thundermon, Snow Agumon, Kokuamon, Kyokyomon, ooh, and Vmon. Just like Hawkmon, just like Armadillomon, he checks the top 4 cards of your deck for a 2-colored card. This one has to have blue in it, and then place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. So, one fun fact I like about these is the 3 cards, Hawkmon and Armadillomon and this Vmon, they're actually all done by the same artist, which is why they look so similar. I kind of wish Wormmon had one for green, personally. I feel like that would have created the quadfecta here, but maybe they'll release a Wormmon of similar caliber someday. For now, this is a cool card, and it's going to be really good in a Vmon Armor Rush deck. We got Cherubimon. Ooh, and for our rares, we got Gammamon. Once per turn, when we play a red tamer, we draw a card. Nice. As inherited is if this Digimon has 6,000 or more DP, delete an opponent's Digimon with 3,000 DP or less. Betel Gammamon has 6,000 DP, so you could play Gammamon, and if you still have the memory, well, no, can't blitz. If you had Gammamon in your raising area, you could move Gammamon up, then Digivolve and blitz, while deleting an opponent's Digimon. And our other rare is Davis and Ken. Alright, well, this is our 7th to last booster pack. We are, at this point, 3/4 of the way done. So let's see what the end of the 3rd quarter brings us with Psychemon, Surfmon, Armor Texture, Ikakiman, Master Tyrannomon, Spinomon, Gazimon, Marsmon, Hyarimon, Armadillomon, and for our rares, we get another Agumon and Flamedramon. 3 to Digivolve off a red, but 2 to Digivolve off a Vmon. He's got Armor Purge, and when attacking, he gains an additional 3,000 DP. It's a pretty nice effect. Alright, we are in the home stretch. We are getting down to the brass, and actually, we haven't seen an alt-art or a secret rare. Ugh. But for now, we're seeing Fangmon, Top Gun, Disaster Blaster, Mushroomon, Catch Mamemon, Snow Agumon, Fire Rocket, Pandemonium Flame, Greymon, Plasma Shot, and for our rares, we got Cody and Willis. So Willis is on play, lets us hatch a Digi-Egg into an empty space in our breeding area. So he's a good card to play right after you've moved your Digimon up and out. And when one of our Digimon would Digivolve into a Digimon with Gargomon or Rapidmon in their name, we can suspend this tamer to lower the cost by 1. Well, that's pretty good if you're trying to run a Terriermon deck. I kind of wish Willis had effects that worked with Lopmon and Kokomon and all that, but I kind of understand. It would be weird to have us. Well, no, it wouldn't be weird. It wouldn't be weird at all. It would be very accurate to the movie. They really should have done that. Maybe they'll release a purple Willis at some point. In this pack, we got Armor Texture, Ikakiman, Angemon, Top Gun, Skull Satamon, Scorpiomon, Spinomon, Kogamon, Namakemon, Freemon, and for our rares, we get Hiro. Ooh, and I believe it's pronounced Juquiomon. Either that or it's Jukiaomon. But I'm going to go with Juquiomon just to be safe. In case I am wrong, people can just correct me based on that. He is a 5 cost to Digivolve, so it's very expensive. But this guy is a nuke. When Digivolving, our opponent chooses one of their Digimon. Then, this is the fun part, we delete all Digimon other than this one and the one our opponent picked. So our opponent has to pick their favorite, basically. For each Digimon deleted by this effect, we gain a memory. If we manage to delete 5 Digimon, this big guy costs 0. It gets better. When an opponent's Digimon is deleted, this Digimon gains security attack +1 for the turn for each of our opponent's Digimon deleted. Which means Big Bird here only has to delete 4 Digimon to have enough power to wipe your opponent's entire security. Because, one for being himself and then security attack +4. I actually managed to pull a copy of him in the pre-release event, so I'm a little closer than others to getting a full set. But he is definitely a nice spare eject button that I probably won't run a full playset of him, but I would definitely run at least one, just in case I need to nuke the board and run. Alright, our next card is Candlemon, followed by Thundermon, Hookmon, Kyukimon, Fangmon, Catch Mamemon, Ultimate Brachiomon, Pandemonium Flame, Shuriman, TK Takaishi, and for our rares we get another Metal Greymon. And I was very much hoping to see you. Oh, this is Imperial Dramon Paladin mode. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the secret rare for this booster pack. When we would Digivolve into this card, in our hand, we may return a white level 7 Digimon card from our trash to the bottom of our deck to reduce the Digivolution cost by 4. So, basically, he would only cost 3 to Digivolve if we took, say, an Omnimon and put him from our trash to the bottom of our deck. When Digivolving, and when attacking, we may return a 2-colored card from this Digimon's Digivolution cards to the bottom of its owner's deck to trash all of the Digivolution cards off of one of our opponent's Digimon. Then, return all of our opponent's Digimon with no Digivolution cards to the bottom of their owner's deck in any order. So when Digivolving and when attacking, which means if you're using your memory right, this could happen twice in one turn, you can just send away an opponent's Digimon. The downside is it is a limited resource, because even if you went through the trouble of DNA Digivolving into Paildramon, then going into a dual-colored Dragon mode, then into the dual-colored Fighter mode, then Paladin mode himself, so that would only give you 3 times to do this. But if you're at that point, you're pretty much winning anyways. Even more so, though, if you look up here, 16,000 DP. This is the first Digimon in the game whose DP is higher than 15,000. This is now the strongest DP Digimon in the game. And personally, I'm just very glad to have a copy of him. Keep in mind, though, this was near the bottom of the box. May not have been the bottom 2 boosters, but definitely low. So don't knock the bottom of the box. Yeah, don't knock the bottom of the box. Our next pack has Karatanmon, Dramojimon, Jin Ryuumon, Captain Hookmon, Skull Maramon, Greymon, Skull Sadamon, Skull Knightmon Cavalier Mode, BBmon, Karikamiya, and for our rares we got Frost Velgramon. We trash the top Digivolution card of one of our opponent's Digimon when we're Digivolving. Then we return one of our opponent's Digimon with no Digivolution cards to its owner's hand. So, it's a good bounce back card. Our opponent's turn. All of our opponent's Digimon gain, when attacking, trash the bottom Digivolution card of this Digimon. It's a good way to slow down those X-antibodies who are sliding cards underneath themselves, because even though they're sliding a new one under, they still have to get rid of one to do it. Ooh, and our other rare is the super rare Rapidmon. He's 4 to Digivolve off both yellow and green, but, because as like other armors, he only costs 3 to Digivolve off a Terriermon. He's got Armor Purge, and when digivolving, we suspend one of our opponent's Digimon for each tamer we have in play. Then, up to 3 of our opponent's suspended Digimon lose 5,000 DP. So again, dual colored, so he's got, the DP reduction of yellow, he's got the suspending of green. It's actually really nice to have, 3 of your opponent's Digimon suspended, especially if you're trying to do something with that. It's a great card. Just, I don't know if I'd use a full set of, well, I don't know if I would run a Terriermon deck, but it seems the cards are pushing me in that direction. Who knows? Maybe if my alt art is Rapidmon, maybe that's destiny telling me. For now, we got a Lekman, Dremogimon, Padamon, Karatanmon, and Gazimon trying to slip out of there. Disaster Blaster, Captain Hookmon, BBmon, Plasma Shot, Skull Knightmon, Cavalier Mode. And for our rares, we got Laedramon. And our alternate art for the booster pack is Mallo Myotismon. This box is telling me to build a Mallo Myotismon deck. That's what it's telling me to do. I've already gone over the on-play effect, but it is really cool art. It's very ominous and foreboding. But now, as it always comes down to, our final booster pack. Oh, this is always such a somber moment because, we gotta put away our cards and I have to organize them and start thinking up new strategies. But let's say goodbye with Pistmon, Scorpiomon, Ankiloman, Mist Memory Boost, Jin Ryuumon, Ankiloman, Exermon, another Vmon, Demi Maramon, Terriermon, and for our last rares, we get another Frost Velgermon. Oh, and Surfmon, who we did not actually have one of. Well, Surfmon is a DNA Digivolution from Red or Yellow. When Digivolving, one of our opponent's Digimon gets minus 5,000 DP for the turn. And if we DNA Digivolved, we delete one of our opponent's Digimon with 5,000 DP or less. Well, that's a good way to end it out. We got a new card to talk about at the very end. Ooh, there's a lot of jump cuts. There's a lot of pauses in this video because just for some reason, a lot of traffic in front of my house today. But this is going to take me a bit to edit. I'm looking forward to it though. I'm looking at my clock right now, the one on my camera. It says 1 hour and 28 minutes. I don't know how short the video is going to be compared to that. I'll try to condense it as much as I can. Tune in after this video. The next box I open will just be quickly going through them. But, as always, let me know in the comments if I pulled your favorite Digimon, or if there was a Digimon you had wish I had pulled, or maybe you were hoping I got a different alt art. Personally, very glad I got Imperial Dramon Paladin mode. It is going to be a very strong card in the future. But, I kind of hope I get Creepymon in the next box just so that I have both the secret rares. Thank you for watching as always, and I will see you in the next video. This is the Hero of Julios, Xing out.